We're gonna make sourdough pancakes. I've washed my hands and I've turned my stove onto a medium heat using a medium size small skillet. And then here's my sourdough starter. It has a little bit of bubbling that's happened overnight. I've heated up the pan, and then now, so there's a saying in the cooking world, hot pan, cold fat. So you don't want to add generally a cold fat, in this case olive oil, to a cold pan because the oil could potentially burn. So I have my pan already warm, and I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil. This is a non-stick pan, and so what we're going to do with the starter is we're going to make a sourdough pancake. Pardon me, not a potato, sourdough pancake. And so you could add really a wide variety of things to your sourdough pancake. You could, a lot of times I might add a little bit of cheese, or I like to eat it plain too, just with salt, because it does have a sour flavor to it already. So my starter is actually really a bit thick this morning. I added a little bit more flour than I generally do. So anyways, so about there, and then I'm just gonna try to like move it or flatten it out a little bit as best I can. And of course you want to have an adult help you with this part because we're using heat and the stove. And then today on mine I'm just going to add some green onions that I had in my fridge. You can get creative and add anything you'd like. And then a little bit of salt. Get a little pepper too. And I'm going to let that cook, and then I'll flip it once it's started to brown on the other side, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Good morning, this is Miss Brie. Today we're going to feed our sourdough starter that we've created. What we'll need is a scale, a spoon, all-purpose flour, and water. And so we have our starter. It has gotten hopefully a little bit bubbly. And I just want to show you an older starter that I've had that's been kind of hibernating in the refrigerator. And what's happened is that it has this kind of grayish liquid. I don't think you can see it really well. And the liquid is called hooch, actually, and so it's fine. A lot of people who work with sourdough starter just pour it off, or I've actually heard people too, and I've done it, is where you actually mix it in, and that supposedly will make a more sour flavor in your bread if that's what you're looking for. So when you're feeding your sourdough starter, you actually throw out most of it. All you need to keep is 20 grams. So a lot of people throw it in the trash, but what I prefer to make instead is a sourdough pancake, which I'll show you how to make that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take our container. Usually, once you get the hang of it, you can just use one container to feed it and take out what you don't need, and you can even just eyeball feeding it. But in the beginning, it's best to use measurements. So I have a clean container here. I have clean hands, and I'm going to use my scale and what's called tare it out. So when you tare, T-A-R-E, a scale, it means that you bring it to 0. So I don't want it to weigh the jar. I'm just going to press tare. Sometimes the scale might just say 0 instead, and I just want the scale to read 0. And I'm going to take my sourdough starter, and I'm going to add 20 grams. And if you go a little over, it's not the end of the world. You don't really have to worry about it, but we're going to try to be as precise as we can. And then to the 20 grams of starter, we add 50 grams of all-purpose flour. You can tear out the scale again, or you can just use addition and add it to it. So I don't want to tear my scale, so I'm just going to aim to go to 70. And then from here we want it, so 50 grams of flour and then 50 grams of water. So I can just now go to 120 if I'm just combining those measurements together. And then, so we have 20 grams of starter, 50 grams of flour, all-purpose, and 50 grams of water. And then that's it. All you have to do, just like we did when we were making our starter, is we just mix it up till we don't see any more dry flour. So, you want to mix it really well. Try to get some oxygen in there. And then you can cover it now with a lid. You don't have to keep a paper towel on top anymore. It's okay if you do. It might encourage more like yeast to get in there if it hasn't been very bubbly yet. But what you do now is you either wait about 12 hours, there is some flexibility to that, but about 12 hours, and you feed it again, that same process, taking only 20 grams of the starter and then adding 50 grams of water, 50 grams of flour. Or you could keep it in the refrigerator. If you keep it in the refrigerator, it gives you more time. Basically, the starter just takes a nap. It goes into dormancy. And you can feed it about once a week. But if you like to bake bread, or I really like to eat sourdough pancakes, and I have all of this left that can make a pretty big pancake, you can keep it active, feeding it either once or twice a day. So maybe in the morning and at night, or just in the morning is fine too. So if you have questions, please let me know what they are, and I'd be happy to answer them. And then next time I see you for one of these bread lessons, we'll actually start to make sourdough bread. Have a great day. Bye.